Hey guys, we are talking distance between 2 points today, and in this example, we are going to use the distance formula, okay? This is the distance formula, which we actually get from the Pythagorean theorem. If you want to watch me do the same problem using the Pythagorean theorem, because why wouldn't you? I will link that video in the corner, okay? But when I am using the distance formula, the first thing I personally like to do is label my points, okay? So whenever I've ordered pairs, my first number is the x, second is the y, right? And then I just decide which ones are my ones and which ones are my twos. So I'm going to make these guys the ones and these guys the twos. And then we're just going to plug them in here. Okay. So my unknown in this case is the distance, right? The d. That's what we are solving for. So I'm going to take x2, which is 6, minus x1, which is 9. And that is being squared, okay? Don't worry, I didn't forget about my square root. I'm going to put it in just a second. And then we are adding y2, which is 2. And then we are subtracting y1, which is -5. Make sure you get both of those negatives. They are important, okay? And that is being squared. Now this whole thing is under a big, beautiful square root, right? Okay, don't worry, we're going to make it not so scary, I promise, okay? So I'm going to just simplify it down more, right? So 6 minus 9 gives me a -3, okay? So I've got -3 squared plus 2 minus a -5. When we subtract a negative, it goes positive, right? When you take away a negative, take away something negative out of your life, that's positive, right? So 2 plus 5 gives me 7. And that is still being squared. And we are still under that big square root, okay? Now let's square these. So -3 times -3 gives me a +9. And 7 squared, 7 times 7 gives me 49, okay? And we are still square rooting. I don't know if that's a word, but it is today, okay? Now 9 plus 49 is gonna give me 58. And we still have that square root, okay? So right now I have that my distance equals the square root of 58. If you stick that in your calculator, you're going to get a not so pretty decimal, okay? So usually the next thing we try to do is see if the square root of 58 simplifies down at all, okay? If you need a reminder on how to simplify square roots, I'll link a video in the corner. But because I did this problem in advance, I know that the square root of 58 doesn't simplify down any further. This is as simplified as it gets, okay? So this is actually my answer, okay? Now, the ugly decimal can be helpful to kind of give you an idea because the square root of 58, I don't know what that means, right? I don't know. That doesn't seem like a distance to me. So when I plug that in my calculator, I get 7.61577, and it keeps going, okay? So even though it's not the prettiest number, right? I know it's a little over 7.5, which means more to me than the square root of 58, right? So go ahead and leave your answer however your teacher wants you to and what makes more sense to you, okay? All right. You can probably hear the airplane above my house. Sorry about that. But hopefully this made sense. If you need to check out any of those other videos, they should be linked in the corner for you. Thanks. Bye.